Ladies and gentlemen, waking up on Monday morning, already feeling behind, drowning in to-dos, and reacting to whatever comes your way. Now picture the opposite, stepping into your week with clarity, confidence, and control, knowing exactly what matters most and how you're going to get it done. That's the power of planning your week, and yet so few people do it. Most drift through their days, busy but not productive, overwhelmed but not intentional. But here's the truth. If you don't plan your week will plan you. Distractions, demands, and other people's priorities will fill your time, leaving you exhausted and unfulfilled. If you want to achieve big goals, stay focused, and actually feel progress, weekly planning isn't optional, it's essential. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why. Let me ask you a simple question. When does your week truly begin? Is it Monday morning when the alarm rings, or is it Sunday night with a pen in hand, a quiet space, and a written plan? The average person starts their week by chance, but the successful person begins with intention. They don't wake up hoping the week goes well. They wake up already knowing what needs to be done. Here's the reality. If you don't control your week, the week will control you. Life has a way of filling your schedule with other people's priorities if you don't fill it with your own. Planning your week isn't just a productivity tip. It's a discipline, a commitment. It's declaring, I refuse to let 7 days pass by without purpose. Because let's face it, your dreams are too important to leave to chance. Your goals are too valuable to rely on memory. And time is not unlimited. Start treating your time like the precious resource it is. Stay with me because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why planning your week is one of the most powerful success habits you can develop. Once you master it, you won't just accomplish more, you'll become more. Time is the most valuable investment you have. Here's a bold statement for you, and I want you to really think about it. Time is more valuable than money. I know this might sound surprising at first, but let me say it again. Time is more valuable than money. Why? Because you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Time is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or not, educated or not, living in a mansion or a small apartment. We all get 24 hours in a day. That's the deal. So the question is, what are you doing with yours? When you spend money, you can sometimes earn it back. But when you spend time, it's gone forever. If you don't learn to value your time, life will quietly pass you by as you fill it with things that don't truly matter. Let me give you a simple formula for success. Don't just spend your time, start investing it. What does that mean? It means using your time in ways that bring a return. You go to the gym, that's an investment in your health. You read a good book, that's an investment in your mind. You sit down on Sunday night to plan your week, that's an investment in your productivity, your discipline, your peace of mind. And those small investments, they add up little by little, day by day. They begin building their future, and eventually you'll look back and say, I'm glad I was intentional. I'm glad I made wise choices. But the opposite is true too. Time wasted is opportunity lost. Scroll long enough, sleep in often enough, avoid decisions long enough, and before you know it, 5 years will have passed with the same goals, the same dreams, and the same regret. The price, time, and you can never get it back. Here's an important idea to write down. Your calendar is a reflection of your values. Want to know what someone truly cares about? Don't ask them, just look at how they use their time. If you say family matters, but haven't had dinner together in a month, there's a disconnect. If you say growth matters, but haven't made time for reading, learning, or planning, something's out of balance. It's not just about working harder. It's about working smarter with the time you've been given. Let's dive deeper. When you plan your week, you're not just filling in a calendar. You're placing value on your life. You're saying these hours matter. This life matters. What I do this week counts. And here's the reality. Most people don't run out of time because they're too busy. They run out of time because they never planned it. They wake up on Monday with good intentions, and by Friday, they're wondering where the week went. Does that sound familiar? Let me challenge you. Don't let your week be a mystery. Make it a masterpiece. Plan your calls. Schedule your workouts. Block time for thinking, reading, resting, and learning. Write down your goals and action steps. Protect your mornings, control your evenings, and don't give your best hours to your worst distractions. Why? Because every week you waste is a piece of your life that you'll never get back. And no one plans to waste time. They just don't plan not to. So what's the solution? Be a good steward of your time. Honor it, guard it, use it like a millionaire treats their investment portfolio with precision, discipline, and purpose, when you begin treating your time like it's worth gold, life will begin to reward you like never before. Let me leave you with this final thought. You are the CEO of your own 168-hour week. That's what you get, 168 hours, no more, no less. What you do with those hours will determine your future. Success, growth, peace, energy, progress, they're all hidden inside your calendar. So take out your planner, grab a pen to decide right now to invest your time like your life depends on it, because it does. If you don't run the week will run you. Now, let's be clear. Every week has a plan. The question is it your plan or someone else's? Because if you don't sit down, if you don't set the pace, if you don't map out the mission, life will do it for you. And let me warn you, life's default plan is chaos. We live in a world full of noise, notifications, distractions, to-dos, and interruptions. Everyone wants a piece of your time. Your phone wants your morning. Your inbox wants your focus. The world wants your attention. And if you're not careful, you'll give it all away. Let me say something that might sting a little. If your week always feels out of control, it's probably because no one's driving. My friend, you were never meant to be a passenger in your own life. You were meant to grab the wheel. Here's a rule I live by. Don't start the week until it's finished. On paper, that means before Monday ever arrives, I already know what matters. My schedule isn't a surprise. My goals aren't a guess. My time is spoken for because I planned it that way. But most people, they start the week with hope. I hope I get to the gym. I hope I find time to work on that project. I hope things slow down so I can catch up. Hope is not a strategy. While hope is powerful, it needs a plan. Because here's what happens when you don't plan your week. The urgent always wins over the important. The small distractions burn up your big goals. Your calendar fills up with meetings, errands, and mindless tasks, while your dreams get pushed off to someday. Let me give you a word, intentionality. That's the key, because life doesn't care how talented you are. It rewards those who are intentional, those who decide before the noise begins how they want to live. Think of it like this. Would you build a house without a blueprint? Of course not. You wouldn't leave it up to chance, the weather or the workers' whims. You'd measure, you'd plan, you design, because it's your house. Your week is your house. Your time is the foundation. And if you don't build it on purpose, it will collapse under pressure. Now, here's a challenge I want you to take seriously. Don't run your week like a passenger. Leaders don't wait. They don't react. First, when you run your week, you decide your priorities. You don't leave them to chance. You block time for what matters. You say yes to growth and no to guilt. You move from survival mode to strategy. Listen to me. Life doesn't slow down. There's no pause button. You'll never find time. You've got to make it. And that only happens when you sit down, calm, focused, and intentional, and run the week before it runs you. Here's a simple exercise for you. I call it the Sunday night strategy session. It's not complicated and it's not fancy. It's just this. Before the new week begins, take 30 minutes. Sit down with your planner, ask yourself what matters this week, then write it down, schedule it, own it. That small habit, it's a game changer. Because when you run the week, your confidence grows, your focus sharpens, and you show up with intention, not just inertia. People ask me all the time, how do you stay motivated all week? And I say simple, don't leave your life to momentum, give it direction. The best direction you can give it starts with a plan. Let me leave you with this. You either manage your week or the week manages you. You either lead or follow someone else's priorities. You either create the plan or become part of someone else's. The choice is always yours. So choose to lead, choose to plan, choose to run the week before it runs away with your time, energy, and life. Your goals live or die in the weekly plan. Now let's talk about goals. Those big dreams, those lofty ambitions, the things you write in a journal or say out loud at the start of the year. Let me tell you something I've learned from watching people chase success for decades. It's not the goal that determines your future. It's whether or not you plan the steps to get there, week by week. Anyone can write down a goal. I want to get fit. I want to write a book. I want to double my income. Beautiful ideas. But here's the hard truth. Goals without a plan are just wishes. and wishes don't get rewarded. Plans do. Most people make the mistake of setting goals once a year, then hoping life will somehow organize itself around them. But let me ask you, what does your goal have to do with this week? If it's not in this week's plan, it's not real. It's just sitting there collecting dust on the shelf of someday. Here's what I believe with all my heart. Your dreams must find their way into your weekly routine, or they'll never see the light of day. Let me give you an example. You say, I want to lose 20 pounds. Great. Now show me, what day are you working out this week? What time? What are you eating on Thursday? What's your strategy when cravings hit on Saturday night? You see, when a goal is broken into a weekly plan, it becomes a commitment. Until then, it's just an idea floating in your head, hoping to survive the chaos of everyday life. Here's a key lesson. The weekly plan is where vision becomes action. The big dream, that's the what. But the weekly plan, that's the how. It's how you grow your business. It means scheduling calls on Monday, follow-ups on Wednesday, content creation on Friday. It means blocking time and assigning tasks. It means no more guessing, just doing. Without a weekly plan, goals stay blurry. They feel overwhelming and haunt you instead of helping you. But with a clear weekly plan, you wake up with direction, you can measure your progress and build momentum. Let me tell you, momentum is magical. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to do what matters most this week. When you do that, week after week, you build results, you build belief, and soon the person who once hoped for a goal becomes the person who lives it. Let me give you something practical. The goal to action transfer. It's simple. On Sunday night, take 5 minutes to look at your top 3 goals. Then ask yourself, what specific action can I take this week to move closer to this? Put that action in your calendar, not your to-do list, your calendar. Because if it doesn't get scheduled, it won't get done. And don't try to do 10 things. Pick 1 or 2 needle movers, do them well, and then celebrate the progress. Success doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things consistently. Let me say that again. Success isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. And weekly planning is what keeps you consistent. I've met people who've had the same goal for 5 years. They talk about it, they dream about it, but they never translate it into weekly action. And I'll tell them gently, your goal didn't fail you. You just didn't give it a chance to live. Because goals don't survive in the clouds, they thrive in the dirt, in the daily grind, in the decision to make time, take action, and follow through. So here's the challenge this week. Don't just hope, plan. Don't just dream, schedule the steps. Don't wait for the perfect week, because that week isn't coming. Use this week right now, as imperfect as it may be, because this week is the soil, and if you plant your goals here, they'll start to grow. I'll leave you with this thought. Your goals don't need more motivation. They need a map. And that map starts with your weekly plan. Planning creates clarity, and clarity fuels confidence. Let me begin with a principle that can change your entire week. Clarity is power, and planning is how you get it. You see, most people don't lack intelligence, ideas, or ambition. What they lack is clarity. They wake up in the morning with fog in their minds. They start the week unsure, distracted, pulled in 10 different directions. They don't know what matters most, so everything feels urgent. And when everything feels urgent, nothing gets done. Here's the key. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from planning better. You don't need to wait for inspiration to strike. What you need is to sit down, take a deep breath, and put your plan on paper. A written plan, no matter how simple, clears the fog. It says, this is what I'm doing, this is when I'm doing it, and this is why it matters. Suddenly, you've gone from confusion to direction, from stress to structure, from guessing to knowing. And that shift, that clarity doesn't just make you more productive. It makes you more confident. Confidence doesn't come from hype, loud music, or motivational quotes. It comes from knowing where you're going and what you're doing next. Let me give you an example. Picture 2 people starting their Monday. One person has a plan. They block their time. They've listed their top 3 priorities. They know when they'll work, when they'll rest, and what needs to move the needle. The other, they've got a vague idea, a mental list, a calendar full of empty spaces, and a mind full of noise. Now, tell me, Who walks into the day with confidence? Who handles distractions better? Who stays calm under pressure? It's not even close. You see, when you've got clarity, the world feels less threatening. Your day feels less chaotic, and your mind becomes your ally, not your enemy. But here's the catch. Clarity doesn't just show up on its own. You've got to chase it. You've got to create it, and you create it through planning. That's why I say, don't just carry your goals in your head. Put them on paper where they can go to work. Don't trust your memory. Trust your schedule. Don't try to juggle it all. Structure it all. Now, here's something important. Planning isn't about being rigid. It's about being ready. It's not about predicting every minute. It's about deciding what matters before the noise begins. Because if you wait until the world wakes up, until the emails roll in and the problems start, you're already behind. The chaos has already begun to write your story. But if you take just 30 minutes on a Sunday night to ask yourself, what matters this week? What am I building? Where does my energy need to go? Then suddenly you're in charge again. And when you're in charge, you walk taller, you speak clearer, and you move with intention. Because clarity fuels confidence. And confidence is what gets things done. Let me leave you with this final thought. Some people say they don't plan because they don't feel confident. They think, I'll wait until I'm more sure of myself. But that's backwards. You don't wait for confidence to plan. You plan so confidence can show up. Start small, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Write out the day, write out the week, block a few hours. Pick your top 3 priorities. Even a rough draft is better than no draft. Once you see it in front of you, you'll feel it. That surge of clarity, that sense of purpose, that quiet confidence that says, I've got this. Because now you're not just reacting to the world, you're directing your life. So I say to you, don't wander into your week blind. Walk into it with clarity. Build your confidence one plan at a time. And when others are stumbling through the fog, you'll be moving forward with power. Why? Because you took the time to plan. And planning, my friend, is how you lead your life before life tries to lead you. Weekly planning reveals priorities and protects them. Now, let's talk about priorities. Here's a truth I want you to never forget. Everything in life may feel important, but not everything is. That's the trap. That's what steals your time. That's what keeps you busy but not productive. You see, the real danger isn't doing the wrong thing. The real danger is doing the second right thing over and over until the first right thing disappears from your life. That's why weekly planning isn't just about organizing tasks. It's about organizing your values. It's not just what goes on your calendar, it's what gets protected on your calendar. Because when you plan your week, you're not just asking, what do I have to do? You're asking what matters most. And that's where the power lies. That's when you stop living in reaction mode and start living by design. Let me give you a simple idea that changed my life. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. You say your health is a priority? Good. Show me what time you're working out this week. You say your family's a priority? Great. Show me when's the next dinner, the next outing, the next conversation with no phone in your hand. You say your goal matters? Excellent. Show me where's the time block. Where's the focused hour? You see, the problem isn't that we don't care. The problem is that we don't plan like we care. And what's not protected gets replaced. Replaced by emergencies, replaced by distractions, replaced by other people's agendas. Let me tell you this, the world has plenty of plans for your time. So what do? We plan the week with priority in mind. That means before the week begins, you ask yourself, what's most important to me right now? Not everything, not someday, this week. And then you make space for it. You block the time, you close the door, you silence the phone. You treat that block of time like a board meeting with your future. Now, here's something else. Planning not only reveals your priorities, it protects them. Because once it's written down, once it's in your calendar, it becomes visible. And when something is visible, you can fight for it. You're no longer winging it. You're not making decisions based on energy or mood. You're making them based on what you already decided matters. That's discipline. That's maturity. That's the habit that separates the successful from the overwhelmed. Let me tell you this. Every yes you give has a cost. And the most successful people in the world, they're not afraid to say no because they've already said yes to what matters. They don't feel guilty turning something down because they're already committed to something higher. That's what planning does for you. It gives your life structure. It gives your schedule teeth. It gives your calendar a backbone. You don't get pushed around by requests. You don't get lost in chaos. You don't get swept away by urgency. Now you lead the week because your priorities are already on the board. Now let me ask you something. Do your actions reflect your true values, or do they reflect what was loudest and most demanding? That's the hard question. But it's the one that sets you free. Because the moment you start scheduling your values, that's when your life begins to change. So here's what I recommend. Each Sunday night, review your goals. Write down your top 3 priorities for the week. Then block time for them. Not just a to-do list, a time slot. Treat that block like it's sacred. And when life tries to take it, fight for it, defend it, own it. Because those blocks of time, they're not just calendar entries. They're the building blocks of your future. Let me close with this. Your priorities won't happen by accident. They happen by appointment. And every time you sit down to plan your week, you make those appointments with the life you truly want to live. So I say, be bold, be clear, plan like your future depends on it. Because in many ways, my friend, it does. The week is the laboratory for testing and tweaking. Let me give you a new way to think about your week. It's not just a calendar full of appointments. It's not just a set of routines or responsibilities. No, your week is a laboratory. It's a test kitchen. It's your personal workshop where you experiment, evaluate, and evolve. Success doesn't happen all at once. It happens by testing what works and tweaking what doesn't. So, and the best place to do that, right inside the rhythm of your week. Now, let me tell you something that should lift the pressure off your shoulders. Your plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be active. You don't have to get it right every time, but you do have to keep showing up. Keep adjusting, keep learning. You see, that's the beauty of a well-planned week. It gives you feedback, and feedback is the foundation of improvement. Try a new morning routine. By Friday, you'll know if it's working. Start blocking time for deep work. By Wednesday, you'll feel the difference or the resistance. Add more margin for rest, reading, or exercise. You'll see if you're more energized or still overwhelmed. But none of that happens if you don't plan it, if you don't track it, if you don't treat the week as a living, breathing tool for progress. Here's what I teach. Each week is a test. Each result is a teacher. Each plan is a draft. So don't be afraid to edit. You don't have to marry your plan. You just have to commit to the process of refining it. And every time you make a small adjustment, wake up 30 minutes earlier, reduce screen time, prep your meals, limit meetings, shift your gym days, you're learning something about yourself. You're becoming more aware. You're becoming more effective. That's what smart people do. They don't just power through. They pause, they observe, they ask what worked and what didn't. Let me tell you, winners reflect, and weekly planning gives them a space to reflect consistently. Because the goal of planning isn't control, it's clarity. It's about creating a framework that's flexible enough to grow with you, but structured enough to keep you focused. Think of it like this. The week is your field of play. It's where you call the plays, run the drills, and review the game film. It's where you measure how the habits are forming, how the energy is flowing, and how the results are stacking. You try, you observe, you adjust. Then you try again, just a little better this time. And this is key. Don't judge the week, study it. Most people either ignore their week or feel guilty about it, but neither approach helps. What helps is learning. Why? Too tired? Poor sleep? No schedule? You didn't get the writing done? Why? Too many distractions? Unclear goals? Not blocked in? That's the gold. That's the insight that turns frustration into progress. Because, listen, success doesn't go to the person who never messes up. It goes to the person who learns faster, the one who adjusts with intention, the one who treats the week like a living tool, not a fixed routine. Now, let me give you something simple. I call it the Friday Five. Every Friday, take 5 minutes and ask these 5 questions. What worked well this week? What didn't go as planned? What drained my energy? What moved me forward? What will I do differently next week? That's it. 5 questions, 5 minutes. But over time, those small tweaks become major breakthroughs. You adjust your morning, You cut a time waster. You find a new rhythm. You say no more often. You protect your energy. You get sharper, stronger, more aligned. And one day you'll look back and say, I didn't just survive my weeks, I mastered them. Because you tested, you tweaked, and you trusted the process. So let me leave you with this. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a plan you're willing to improve. And every week is your chance to do exactly that. So treat this week like a laboratory. Run the experiment, study the results, then come back next week just 1% better. Because that, my friend, that's how greatness is built. Planning your week trains the discipline muscle. Let me tell you something that's not flashy, but it's foundational. Discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows when you train it. And one of the best workouts for that muscle, planning your week. You see, success doesn't begin when you feel motivated. It begins when you feel responsible. Not for the whole year, not even for the whole month, but for this week. That's where discipline lives, right inside the 7 days in front of you. And every time you sit down, take out your planner and schedule your intentions, you're not just planning, you're training. Now listen carefully. The act of planning is the first step toward the act of following through. Because when you write it down, when you block the time, when you say this gets done, you're exercising control over your life. And control is the seed of confidence. Most people, they wait until they feel like it. Creating momentum, gaining clarity, and feeling in control can all start within a week. A week is long enough to make significant progress, yet short enough to maintain focus. You don't need to worry about the long term. Just tackle the next 7 days with purpose. Here's a key insight. Many people overestimate what they can achieve in a single day, but they often underestimate what they can accomplish in a well-structured week. When you plan your week, you take control. You set the rhythm, choose the pace, and determine where your energy goes. When you finish the week strong, when you hit your top priorities, honor your commitments, and follow through with discipline, you build belief in yourself. This belief carries over into the next week, and soon you start stacking successes. That's the secret. Success thrives on rhythm, and rhythm begins with weekly execution. Let's make this practical. If you want to win the month, it starts with a simple process every Sunday evening. Sit down with one goal in mind, plan a week you can actually win. Not a fantasy week, but a real, focused, purposeful one. Ask yourself, what are my top 3 priorities? What must move forward? What distractions do I need to avoid? Consider what habits you need to repeat. Write it down, schedule it, and commit to it. Because here's the truth. If you don't plan to win the week, the world will plan to waste it. Distractions are everywhere. Notifications, emails, requests. If you don't set the tone, life will set it for you. But when you take charge, when you lead your week, you start seeing results. 1 week of clean eating, and your body starts to change. 1 week of showing up early, and your mindset shifts. 1 week of working on your dream, and you feel alive again. And here's the most powerful part. It doesn't require perfection, just consistency. Let me say that again. You don't need perfect weeks to succeed in the month, just intentional ones. Weeks where you showed up, followed through, learned, adjusted, and improved. That's how success becomes sustainable. That's how transformation becomes your new normal. You don't need a miracle in 30 days. You need a plan for 7, and then repeat. Let me explain why this matters. Winning the week shifts your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's simply trying and start seeing yourself as someone who is becoming. You stop hoping and start executing. And when you experience that shift, the month takes care of itself. Goals come closer, overwhelm fades, and results appear faster than you imagine. So here's your takeaway. Don't chase the month. Master the week. Do it with purpose, structure, and watch how quickly your life changes. Because if you can win this week, you can win the next and the next. Before long, you're not just living the life you planned, you're living the life you earned. Planning prevents burnout and maximizes energy. Here's a truth many miss. Burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much of the wrong things or doing it all without a plan. Burnout isn't caused by effort alone. It's the result of chaos, being pulled in every direction, juggling tasks with no priority, and running all day without truly accomplishing anything. That's the silent killer. Disorder, not work. If your week is chaotic, unstructured, and reactive, you're not just wasting time, you're draining your energy. And energy is everything. But here's the good news. Planning is your antidote to burnout. It's your guard at the gate, protecting your energy. When you plan your week with intention, you make a powerful decision. You choose ahead of time where your energy will be invested, and just as importantly, where it won't. You build in focus. You build in rest. You create your rhythm, and rhythm brings relief. Instead of waking up overwhelmed, you wake up prepared. Instead of holding everything in your mind, you place it in your plan. Now pay close attention. Your body wasn't designed for constant urgency, and your mind wasn't built for endless noise. If you don't create space, set boundaries, and carve out time for renewal, life will wear you down before your purpose ever takes root. That's why planning isn't just about productivity, it's about preservation. It's how you protect the best parts of yourself, your creativity, your clarity, your spirit. When your schedule is packed with obligations but lacking essentials like rest and joy, your soul starts to push back. You wake up exhausted. You go to bed unsettled. You lose interest in the things you once loved. That's not laziness. It's a sign of misalignment. But when you sit down at the start of the week and design it wisely, you feel the shift. You declare, this time is for work. This time is for me. This time is for family. This time is for rest. And suddenly peace returns, focus returns, energy returns. Let's be clear. Planning your week doesn't mean cramming it full. It means giving each part of your life the space it needs. You're not just scheduling tasks, you're scheduling rest. You're not just making time for hustle, you're making time for healing. You block out walks, breaks, even quiet moments. Why? Because energy is something to manage, not a fire to burn until it's gone. Here's a truth few acknowledge. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. Balance is. And balance doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. So here's what I recommend. Every Sunday night when you plan your week, don't just ask, what do I need to get done? Ask, what do I need to protect? Build buffers between meetings. Block an hour just for thinking. Plan at least one evening with nothing scheduled. Guard your mornings like treasure. Schedule joy. Yes, joy. Even fun must be intentional when life is busy. Because let me tell you, a burned out version of you isn't productive. A scattered mind isn't strategic. A tired mind can't create, connect, or lead, but a rested, prepared, and planned you, that's a force to be reckoned with. So I leave you with this. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And the best way to do that, plan your week with margin, meaning, and mass. When you protect your energy, you protect your creativity, your relationships, and ultimately your mission. Plan to protect. Plan to renew. Plan to endure. Sunday night, the most important meeting of the week. Let me tell you about it. It doesn't happen in a boardroom. It doesn't require a team. It doesn't need a fancy agenda. It happens on Sunday night. Just you, your thoughts, your calendar, and your future. You see, Sunday night isn't the end of the weekend. It's the launch pad for the week ahead. It's your opportunity to get ahead before the demands of the world catch up with you. That's why I call it what it really is, the most important meeting of the week. Why? Because it's the one meeting where you set the agenda, the one time you decide what truly matters, the one chance to reclaim your time before the noise of the week tries to steal it. Most people stumble into Monday in a fog, rushing, reacting, scrambling through emails, demands, and expectations with no clarity, no direction. Just movement without meaning. But the achievers, they step into Monday with intention because they've already had the meeting that mattered most on Sunday night. Let me show you why this moment is so powerful. First, Sunday night slows you down. It pulls you out of the chaos. It gives you space to reflect, review, and reset. You get to ask the questions most busy people forget. What worked last week? What didn't? Where did my time go? What do I want this upcoming week to feel like? Because you're not just filling a calendar, you're building a life. Next, Sunday night brings clarity. It's the time when decisions are made before the chaos arrives. It's where you choose what you will do and what you will not do. And let me tell you, there's power in deciding ahead of time. Power in saying, this is the direction, these are the priorities, this is my commitment. That clarity, It transforms pressure into peace, turns confusion into confidence, and makes a good week a great one. Here's something most people miss. If you wait until Monday morning to plan your week, you're already behind. Urgency will always outrun importance. Demands will always overshadow decisions. But Sunday night, that's your quiet time. That's your protected space. That's when vision finally has room to speak. So here's what I recommend. Block 30 minutes every Sunday night, just for you. Not for entertainment, not for scrolling, but for strategy. Sit down with your planner, look ahead at the days, right, your top 3 goals, block your most valuable time, build in rest, make space for growth, decide what matters and give it a place. And listen, turn it into a ritual. Light a candle, play music, open a notebook. Treat it as something sacred. Because when you honor your planning time, your life will start to mirror that same order. And remember, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a plan you're willing to follow. And if you return to this practice every Sunday night, week after week, you'll begin to see your life take shape just as you envisioned. Let's be honest. There are 2 versions of each of us, the version that reacts to the week and the version that leads it. And the one that wins, that's the one who keeps their Sunday night appointment. So I leave you with this. Don't start the week until it's finished on paper. Don't wait for the week to dictate your actions. You tell the week who's in charge. Make Sunday night your power hour, and the rest of the week will thank you. Because that meeting with yourself on Sunday, that quiet personal moment, isn't just planning, it's leadership, it's stewardship, it's success in motion. So don't skip the meeting. That's the one that changes everything. Plan with vision, live with intention. Let me say it plainly. The future doesn't belong to the lucky, it belongs to the prepared. And one of the most powerful tools of preparation, a well-planned week. You see, planning isn't just about productivity. It's not about stuffing more into your schedule. It's about stepping back and saying, my life matters too much to leave it to chance. The moment you pick up the pen, the moment you begin shaping your week with intention, you're doing something rare. You're becoming someone who lives with purpose. And let me tell you, intentional living is powerful. They drift into habits. They drift into relationships. They drift into mediocrity. But not you. You've made a decision. You've chosen to lead your life, not just react to it. That's what a plan does. It puts you back in the driver's seat. It says, this is who I'm becoming. This is how I'll invest my time. This is what I'm committed to this week, this month, this year. Because vision without a plan, that's just a wish. And a plan without action, that's just ink on paper. But when you bring vision, planning, and action together, now you're living on purpose. And that's where the transformation happens. That's when you stop surviving your days and start building your destiny. So let me ask you, what if you did this every week? What if you made this your way of life?